Hey, what's up, everyone? I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So today, we have a show that I have to admit was inspired by Too Raw for TV, because he's the one that brought up this point, and I hadn't thought about it. So as you guys know, all throughout yesterday, yesterday I believe it was, the NBA media was crying about the fact that, the game was rigged and, the officiating and this and that and this and that. And they were going off to the point where even, Kendrick Perkins recently came out and said that the game was rigged against the Lakers. Take a listen to Kendrick Perkins here talking on the Pat McAfee show and saying that the game was rigged. Take a listen to that.
Let's talk about the playoffs. Oklahoma City team cheats. The Oklahoma City team just cheats all the time. The refs are rigging these games for them to win, to get more fouls. And last night, it did feel as if it was a showcase of being pissed off about the refs from the Lakers. Now, JJ Redick, former fiery player, I think him being a head coach certainly doesn't help the fact that, he probably operates a little bit differently with the refs than maybe some other head coaches would that come up through the coaching ranks in a different fashion. I think he's a little bit more comfortable with knowing who they are. But it was certainly a display of, hey, you guys are ass. And then Austin Reeves afterwards, they circle these refs, don't let them leave, and say, hey, we got more to say to you actually before you get out of here. This felt big. This felt like a really big deal to me. Perk, how did you view it all, and why is this always the conversation around these Oklahoma City Thunder teams?
Well, number one, let me say this. I love when JJ throws those temper tantrums on the sideline. Those are the classic moments. If we could bring up a top 10 of JJ rants and his temper tantrum moments, that would be great. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we have a problem. We have a serious problem right now, and that game last night highlighted it. I believe that I love Adam Silver. I think he's the best commissioner in sports. I love that, he's a man of the people. And with that being said, he's going to have to listen to the people. They have a lot of upset fans that are on the internet that were watching the game that didn't like the way that game was called last night. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't like it either. Matter of fact, I hated it, every single moment of it. It was nothing but complaining. It was a lot of flopping going on. It was a lot of no calls. And here's the thing, right? When you get players, and this has been a trend throughout the postseason, calling out officiating, you have to address it. And it's not just addressing the players with fines. That's one thing, but the officials got to have some level of accountability. And also, you don't want to get to the point where fans are sitting up here talking about the game is rigged, because we do have to take in mind that what's one of the biggest, things that make the biggest money makers out there? Betting, sports betting. So we don't want to start messing and having fans thinking that it's something going on with the integrity of the game. So you got to clean up this flopping nonsense. You have to clean it up. Last night, I thought it was extremely bad. I thought OKC all across the board, this was one of their worst moments, in my opinion. You know how I feel about OKC. You know how I feel about Shea. But damn it, I got to call it like I see it. It's facts over feelings.
So you have that there, right? Kendrick Perkins is going off saying that. But then Too Raw brought up a point. He's like, these guys are crying for the Lakers and for LeBron and all of these guys. But just a few days prior, when Jaylen Brown said this, everybody went after him. Now, I want to read from a post here. It says, Jaylen Brown goes off on NBA refs and says that they had an agenda against him throughout the Sixers versus Celtics series. They clearly had an agenda. Maybe because I spoke so critical of them in the regular season. I actually spoke to some refs, and they told me that there's an agenda. So what we want to do is actually, I think we have some video footage here. We can play what Jalen Green had to say here about the events that occurred after that game. Take a look at what Jalen Green had to say here.
It's dead last in getting calls, and I was vocal about it. I got thrown out some games, or et cetera. And they keep saying like this push off and this stuff like that. You know how many players do that? That is such that's the common play, a basketball play. Every player does it. So why are you targeting me? it clearly had an agenda. Like maybe because I spoken that was critical of the refs in the regular season. So you know how they responded. Like you're gonna lead the playoffs in offensive fouls. That was the response from the officiating crew. You could clearly tell. And I've actually spoke to some refs and they said it was agenda going into each game. So anytime Jaylen brings his arm up, just from reputation, just call it. Like, but Paul George does the same thing. Jalen Brunson does the same thing. Shit, I can go down the list. It's a basketball play, whether y'all believe it or not. You know what I mean? Everybody does that when you drive, especially if you got bodies on you. But Philly took advantage of it, and they took advantage of the officiating, and it cost us to some degree. But I've been doing it all regular season, not a problem. And now all of a sudden, it's offensive foul every time. You better keep that same energy with everybody else. That's all I got to say.
Okay, perfect. So you had that. So anyway, I came across an article where it says Jaylen Green doubled downs on NBA refs' criticism after $50,000 fine. And it says Boston Celtics star Jaylen Green was fined $50,000 by the NBA for criticizing the league office on the Twitch stream. After the Celtics were eliminated from the 2026 NBA playoffs in the first round of Game 7 on Saturday, Brown took to Twitch on Sunday to claim that the refs admitted there is an agenda against him. And then we played the sound for you there as well. But then it looks like Jaylen Green wasn't done there. He actually put out another video where he said Jaylen Green still going after the after getting fined. He said, I have something to say. There's an inconsistency and is there. You called me for an offensive fouls, but SGA is about to win his second MVP with the same move. So Jaylen Green is not backing down, right? And good for him because he believes what he believes. Now, at the time, people wanted me to get on Jaylen Green about it, and I just didn't have the time. But then Two Raw brought up this point, in which I want to focus on now. Isn't it amazing that everybody was getting on Jaylen Green for calling out the officials? And granted, he lost, and then I think he said this was the best year I've had and all of that. So that obviously didn't land well, and you can understand that. And I'll go as far as to say, look, I think the people that criticized Jaylen Green were 100% inbound. If you want to call him out for his comments, have at it. I have no issue with it whatsoever. But my thing is, how is Jaylen Green wrong? And the media was up in arms about him. But then the very next day or a day or two later, the Lakers lose and they're complaining about the refs, and everyone and their grandmother is making an excuse for them. I'm sorry. Where are these people that were calling out Jaylen Green? Where are they? These people that were going off on Jaylen Brown, excuse me. I don't know why I said Jaylen Green. Jaylen Brown, maybe I'm thinking of the Celtics. Jaylen Brown. Why aren't they calling out the Lakers? You see how that works? It is clear that the media has made it clear in their mind who they like and who they don't like. This is the reason why Kobe Bryant can finish his career 1 MVP and LeBron can have 4 or Steve Nash can have 2. They go for who they like. And if they don't like you, they're not going to support you. This is the clearest evidence of it. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with merit. Most of it just has to do with an agenda and who they want. And that's it. That's why I laugh at people. Oh, Kobe only won MVP. Yeah, when you have people like in the media like this, of course. Of course. And there's already been documented that the media wasn't a fan of Kobe Bryant. That's the reason they didn't vote for him. And it had to do with his Colorado case. We know this already. You guys let me know what you think. The people that were crying about the Lakers not getting foul calls, how is it okay for the Lakers, but then for Jaylen Brown is wrong?